Hey friends, we're glad you tuned in to this episode of Beards and Bitcoins, a crypto podcast for the man's man, and all you beard-loving ladies. In this vast kingdom of nerdy incels, two men stand out as different from the crowd. BitBoy and J-Chains were both voted least nerdy in high school. Join them each week as they discuss all the hottest topics in cryptocurrency, as well as the fan-favorite segment, Manspreading. So make sure to hit subscribe and turn on those downloads. Here are the dudes, Ben and Justin.
Welcome to Beards and Bitcoins, a crypto podcast for the man's man and the ladies who love him. Today, as always, I am joined by my co-host, J-Chains. I am BitBoy. What is going on, Chains? Tell them what we got on the show today.
Hey, what is happening, y'all? Got a great show planned for you. For Newsbreak, this is very exciting. Did Satoshi just move 50 Bitcoin?
It's a question.
We'll find out. On Token Time, this coin just announced a huge partnership, and us old guys, because we're about the same age, we're excited about the name nostalgia here. And on Manspreading, we're going to talk the news that was recently announced about the Joe Rogan podcast, how he's going to go exclusively over to Spotify. So stick with us. It's going to be a great show, and we're excited to see you. I am excited to see you because I know you just got back from vacation.
Absolutely, man. I did get back from vacation, and it was a good one. It was very relaxing and refreshing. And, you know, I've been people who watch my channel probably know I work like a mad scientist. I've been working about 18 to 20 hours a day for 6 months straight, and 7 days a week, nonstop. And this is the first break that I've had, and it was really nice to unplug, recharge, kind of get my mind focused about some different stuff. I had some stuff for, you know, you guys know I have a big TikTok account, which has still been blown up. I'm like 2.3 million followers over there now. And I really had some clarity about some things I could do with that. Like, it's just great. You guys, if you haven't unplugged and refreshed, I highly suggest it.
Do it. That's, you know, the quarantine is a great time to do it if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. Speaking of that, this is obviously, we're still fresh in the stay-at-home orders. Georgia's a little bit different. What is life like post-apocalypse?
Yeah. So, you know, I got a lot of weird comments like on, Twitter or TikTok or whatever it was. People saying like, why are you on vacation, Mom? Like, guys, look, here's the thing. Over in this part of the country, in the South, we over it. We done.
We done.
If y'all want to keep it up north, y'all want to keep it out west, y'all go ahead and roll with it. But down here, we going back to life as normal. And here's why. Guys, there's no vaccine coming. We don't, think about this. We could be years and years and years without a vaccine or a cure. At some point, we're going to have to go back to life. And down here in the South, we decide we're going to freaking go back. So
like one of the things you have to think about something like that, right, is when you're talking about this, like it might be years, like it's a virus. HIV is a virus. I get that there are differences in the virus, but there's still, how long did it take them to find anything that would work for that?
A long time, 20 years to find any treatment really for it, you know, that works effectively. And it still is not curable, you know. People in Africa are learning to live with it longer, which is good. But, you know, there is no pure vaccine or pure cure for. There's treatment that can prolong your life past the point of like where, you know, if you have enough money to keep the treatment going long enough where you'd be like Magic Johnson, you don't ever die from it. But, that's what we're facing here is something very similar. Yeah. We don't know if we'll ever be able to have a cure. And so for us to all just sit back and say, well, I guess, you know what, we just need to wait forever, you know, to go do something. Like, nah, just go out and do stuff. You be smart though. Like, yeah, I'm telling my kids, don't touch this, don't touch that, don't touch the door, you know, whatever. Like, but these are new rules we're just going to have to live with pretty much in society. We're going to teach our kids, like, you do not touch stuff other than like what is absolutely necessary when you open doors, wash hands, sit down at restaurants. Restaurants are not going to be as packed as they were. You know, bars are going to be much different. You know, at the pool area at the hotel I stayed at, they had taken out, some of the chairs. So things were spaced out just a little bit more, not that much more really, to be honest with you. But it was weird. So like from my hotel, looking out our balcony over we were staying in Panama City. So looking over the Gulf, you know, the beach and the pool area from the back of the hotel looked pretty normal. When you get on like the front side of the hotel where all the restaurants are and stores, it's hit or miss. I mean, some are open, some are closed, but almost all of them have special precautions. So like we went to an ice cream store and like they had to tell people behind us, like, y'all got to wait outside, you know, so you just had to come in and have a few at a time. We went to a donut place for breakfast. They had like X's marked everywhere outside where you had to stand and wait for the next person to move so you could move, and things like that.
Isn't your favorite chicken wing place there?
It's in Cocoa Beach. We didn't go to
Cocoa Beach. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ate a lot of crab legs this week.
Ooh, you know, I was thinking about today. I was having a conversation with my mother, and somehow a lobster roll came up, and man, I could go for a lobster roll. That sounds so good.
You know, I don't really do lobster rolls or crab cakes because I don't mess with put like peppers and onions and vegetables. I just like meat, you know. So I like to tear them crab legs. I had all you can eat crab legs one night.
Nice.
Pretty fantastic, you know. I do love seafood for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a good seafood to love.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about MCO real quick.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Make sure that you guys visit mco.beards.live so you can sign up for a crypto.com account. We'll both get $50. You've got a great place to store your crypto. They actually just released a wallet where you get to keep your own seed phrase and private keys. So that's your key. That's your crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great wallet is the Monarch wallet, which, as you guys know, is a great sponsor of the Beards and Bitcoins Crypto podcast. Rule your own financial kingdom from the palm of your hand.
That is right, sir. The team at Monarch, they are bringing one app to access all the best crypto services right there from the palm of your hand. These guys believe in delivering tech, not hype.
With the universal decentralized Monarch wallet, you can buy, store, spend, and earn crypto with Monarch Pay. You can set up and accept recurring crypto payments.
Nice. Make sure that you visit monarchwallet.com or monarchtoken.io today.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's get into the big news of the day because it is crazy. News break. All right, guys, so for news break, we're covering a really crazy, it's kind of a breaking story. It's been going on the last couple hours today. We're recording this Wednesday night, so you guys are listening to it on Thursday, most likely. It is involving possibly Satoshi moving BTC. What you got on that, Jay?
So 2009 is the last time these coins did anything. I think they were mined from one of the original blocks, something like that we were reading. But a lot of talk, man. Could this be Satoshi? Could this just be an OG that, needs to move some funding? We don't know, but we have seen that it definitely impacted the market today. I think because of the news, Bitcoin dumped about $200 in a matter of no time. I mean, I know it's not a huge move, when you're talking, trying to get to 10,000, but still, that's a pretty big swing in a day on some maybe news,
Yeah, it's a lot of fear, and it's kind of crazy. This is that one thing we have hanging over our head in crypto, which is, we saw what the Mt. Gox debacle did, right? When the trustees of Mt. Gox held that BTC forever, and it was just never ending. They kept dumping it, and it kept affecting the price. But this is way more dramatic than even that. I mean, we're talking about 1 million BTC. We don't know who has it. We don't know if anyone has access to it. That 1 million Bitcoin being removed from the supply is baked into the price. So really, when we're talking about the total circulating supply is 18.5 million, well, we know there's been about 4 million that have been lost. And included in that 4 million is the 1 million that we believe is Satoshi's that will never move again. So you're talking about out of 18.5 million, you're talking about really about 14.5 million in actual circulating supply. So if that number were to go up and that, to 15.5 million because this million BTC gets moved, it's going to have a dramatic effect on the price. But, also at the same time, I don't know if you remember, but you and me and Crypto Stash talked about this a lot when we were in Texas last year about how, it might be better to just, I almost wish you would just do it. Go ahead, move them all, take them all, sell them all, whatever. Sell that million BTC.
Be done with it.
Let's be done with it. Yeah. Because now, we're just always caught in this kind of limbo of is it Satoshi? Will he be able to move these? Is he going to dump them? Is he going to sell them? And it's always hanging over our head. So I think that creates a lot of fear.
Oh, absolutely. And again, we've talked about this many times on the show as well. It's nobody really cares about, a lot of people care about the identity of Satoshi, but I think if you're kind of a true believer of crypto and Bitcoin and all that, you don't really care or want to know who he is because that's kind of the design of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're, go ahead.
It adds to the, kind of folk legend of Satoshi.
Yeah, and the whole decentralized nature, because you don't actually know who it is. So there's hopefully no one, no puppet behind the strings, calling all the shots.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this is, when you start off telling about the story, you said, an OG. Well, this goes beyond an OG. Like when people talk about OGs in crypto, which of course, if you didn't know, stands for original gangsta. It just basically means that the people that were should call it ONG, original nerd gangsta. Okay.
Yeah.
Original nerdsta. Yeah, nerds. But this goes beyond that. This is not someone who was early in crypto. I mean, I've been in Bitcoin since 2012. I consider myself, to be in way before 95% of people at least that are in crypto. But this is a whole nother level. You're talking about somebody that was around in the first 6 months of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be someone very, very close to, or if not absolutely involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, when did the $10,000 pizza happen? Was that in 2011 or 2010? Let me see.
Isn't that? I think that's this week, isn't it? Thursday?
Is it already Bitcoin Pizza Day?
It's either today or tomorrow.
It sure is. Wow, that's crazy. It just seems like last year's Pizza Days came so quick.
Till Friday, everybody be ordering your pizza.
Yeah, that's right. 2010 is when that happened, May 22nd, 2010. So you're talking about, this is a year before the first Bitcoin transaction ever. So you're talking about very close inner circle, Satoshi, Adam Back, maybe Gavin Andreessen. I mean, you're talking about the earliest of the early people in Bitcoin that this could be. So if this is not Satoshi who moved these, which I like to hope it's not, it's whoever the next one or two people removed from Satoshi that was involved in Bitcoin was.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if they know something. They're moving it, flipping it, because something's going to happen.
Ooh, don't scare me like that.
Nobody likes to hear that.
Nobody likes to hear that, man. But I would suspect that probably it's going to get moved. It's going to chill for a while. And then at some point, it's probably going to dump. Or I don't know. I don't think that this is just totally random. Like, I'm just going to move this stuff here. There's got to be a purpose behind it. So,
I mean,
go ahead.
11 years because it's been 11 years. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's just no reason for it to move unless something's cooking.
Maybe it's a message.
No, like I don't know how any of this stuff works, because I'm just like with cryptography, like I'm not good with that, right?
You're
like,
not a nerd.
Thank you very much. So like, at the halvening, like everyone said, like, this thing had like a encrypted message that said, the Fed injected so much more money, it's going to make 2008 look like a joke or whatever, right? So is there any message in this transaction? How do you find that stuff out?
Well, no, because the message in the transaction that was on the last block of this halvening, which was also on the first block that was ever mined, similar message, that message is imprinted in the transaction where the miner receives the rewards.
Gotcha. Okay.
So these have already been mined, so there's no message that goes along with it. This is just a regular, and I don't know.
You mean there's no email that comes along with moving 50 Bitcoin?
All right, no email, just about $1.20. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. So, you can sometimes put a message in a transaction. I think. I mean, I've definitely seen a transaction before where I could put a memo or something, but I don't. It's not the same thing as the long and the short of it is when it gets mined.
I got you. One's real techie and one's just kind of standard.
Yeah. So it is very interesting. I just wonder if it's a message in itself, like, hey, something big is coming, or hey, I'm still out here, possibly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But let's move on here. Before we get to token time, though, I do want to let you guys know to make sure you guys visit our website, beardsandbitcoins.com. You can certainly sign up for the 21 best Bitcoin practices. It's a PDF. You get it absolutely for free, where you can learn everything that you should be doing if you are new to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And of course, we also have all show info and episodes, along with we're having all of our episodes transcribed. So you can definitely get the transcripts of every episode if you feel like you don't have time to listen, or you just really love to read. You will have that option on every episode. We're working on getting all those done. So, but let's move on. Let's talk about a token.
Token time. All right, today for Token Time, we are talking about Litecoin. And if you're a stranger to crypto, get familiar with these guys because they do a really good job of their marketing and being around the space and kind of being the payment solution, I guess, the digital silver compared to Bitcoin. So a little bit of Litecoin, but they got some crazy news. They just partnered up with Atari, right, Ben? What do you know about that?
Yeah, so they just partnered with Atari. It's going to be, pretty crazy partnership. They're working together, kind of on two fronts. One, to be able to, make purchases through this new Atari console, which we'll talk about in a minute. And also, there's an Atari token coming, and so you're actually going to be able to buy that with Litecoin. So we'll get more into that in a minute. Before we get too much into the Atari news, though, tell us, where is Litecoin sitting at right now, Jay?
All right. If you go on CoinMarketCap right now, they are ranked number 7. They've got a market cap of 2.8 billion, 24-hour volume of 3.4 billion, circulating supply 64.7 million. Price wise, looking at about $44.18 right now, about a little under 2.5% down on the day. That's
what's that all-time high, like $400?
Oh man.
Litecoin hit hard. Yeah. 323. That sounds about right. Maybe somewhere around there. I remember I convinced my friend to buy some that day, so that was a bad decision.
Ether was on a tear, right? I mean, Ether at that point, I think Ether was probably like $1,200 or something like that. So I think everybody thought, they're all going like, let's go.
We thought it'd never end. Yeah. We thought it would never end. But the thing about Litecoin is, even though there's been a lot of ups and downs in the history of crypto, ever since Litecoin debuted, I think it's been in the top 10. That's pretty impressive.
Well, they do. They do a really good job of staying in the news. What is it? They did some stuff with the UFC. I mean, that had some really good eyes on it.
Yeah. Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins. That's right. With the payment, I think you could pay for concessions or something like that
raffle
at the actual
tickets.
Games. Or was it just raffle tickets during the games?
Yeah. Imagine buying crypto to buy raffle tickets. Isn't that what crypto is? A raffle ticket already? So
I think so. Might as well just sit on that Litecoin.
I love those raffles, those 50-50 raffles. Like, I'm such a sucker. Like, it go into charity, so I'll pop like $100. I've never won.
Never. I mean, but when you do win, I mean, it's always a pretty nice little pop. That's for sure.
I guess.
Well, but that's going to change now. I mean, now that you can't even like either have fans or you have like a quarter of your stadium full.
NFL is going to go full tilt at normal. You watch and see.
So?
NFL, nothing will change.
Okay.
I've been talking to my Falcons rep, and they're pretty convinced that that they have some backup plans. But look, I'm telling you, NFL runs the show. Okay,
that's probably pretty true.
Yeah, NFL runs the show, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, So back to this. So Atari has now partnered with the Litecoin Foundation. So just read you one little snippet here. The well-recognized brand entertainment producer Atari has announced a partnership with the Litecoin Foundation, the nonprofit organization formed to promote the awareness and adoption of the decentralized cryptocurrency Litecoin. So basically, this is what it boils down to. Atari owns a ton of games, more than 200 games and franchises. So it's even more games than just 200. And what they're doing is they're creating a PC hybrid. Now, I'm not a PC gamer, right? We've well established we're not nerds on this show. No offense if you are a PC gamer, okay? But
it's just not our thing.
Just not our thing, okay? It's just not our thing. But basically, they have all these games, and they're going to be putting them into a hybrid PC console to where you're going to be able to run kind of like an emulator style, where you're going to be able to play all the classic games. But they're going to be on 4K, so they're going to be the classic games with like updated graphics, looking really cool. And not only that, you're going to be able to create your own games and apps and then upload them on the console. So you're going to be able to basically buy games to play through that console with Litecoin. And then on top of that, Atari will be issuing the Atari token that is registered in Gibraltar, right? Because you got to have a crazy overseas place that's registered. Yep. Let's see here. It says that 35% of the revenue will be going to a nonprofit. It looks like they're nonprofit, kind of similar to Litecoin Foundation. But they're going to allow people to buy this token with Litecoin. So, right. So if you want to buy an ICO or whatever, a lot of times you got to buy it with ETH or Bitcoin. For this, you're going to be able to buy it with Litecoin. So pretty interesting stuff. That's going to encourage people to, buy Litecoin to buy Atari.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart. I mean, we know that we're going into a digital age. I mean, we know that the rise of video games, it's just getting bigger as generations go. So, I mean, it's just a natural succession that you're seeing these legacy companies within that space partner with a cryptocurrency, because the communities, I mean, as obviously some people grow out of video games through their lives, but the communities somewhat are interchangeable, right?
Some people.
Yeah, sorry, everyone.
You just offended like our entire audience.
My bad. But you know what you mean, like, right? So
Yeah.
it's natural, and so that's how if you get people in when they're younger, you pretty much just bring them the whole way. So it's a good way to really support the mass adoption from an industry that it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Atari has been a company that hasn't really been in the news, for a long time, and they're picking right now is really their time to make a comeback, and they're working with crypto to try to get that done. So definitely very interesting to see what happens and develops here. Litecoin, that they've made some great partnerships over the years, and hopefully this will be one that pans out for both parties, and hopefully Litecoin can get back on track to get back up above $300 again. That would be nice. I know $44 is not sitting well with some people.
Yeah, that one needs a little boost. Well, speaking of boost, if you would like us to speak about your favorite project, or if you got any questions about projects in general, make sure you visit our Telegram channel. It's t.me/beards and bitcoins. Come chat with us. Again, we'll talk about projects. We're always in there. We got a pretty active community. It's grown quite well, and we've got a lot of people in there talking about some fun things. So come on down and join us.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, let's move on to everybody's favorite segment, Manspreading. All right, guys. So we got big news in the podcasting world. This is the crypto podcast for the man's man. And there's one guy who may be one of the biggest mans around. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. And that's Joe Rogan. Like, he's the dude we all kind of like secretly want to be like. This guy, he's a UFC fighter. He's an announcer. He's got a huge podcast, and he's just cool. You know what I'm saying?
He's cool as hell.
Yeah, he is, man. He's a comedian. He's been on TV, like he used to be on Fear Factor. He's done everything. But his podcast he's one of the original podcasters. I mean, he's not one of the original, but he's one of the first really big podcasters that has stuck with it for years and years. And that's, pretty much his main source of income at this point. And he ain't going to need income anymore. Because tell him what happened to this man's.
This just was announced, whether it was late yesterday or today. So at the end of the year, so it's going to be a phased thing. I think at some point midsummer, Joe Rogan's podcast is going to be on Spotify, but by the end of the year, he is going to be exclusively on Spotify for the meager price tag of $100 million.
Gosh, that's so much money, man, for a podcast.
Dude, he's the number one podcast in the world, I think.
No, he's not.
He's not?
No, he's not.
Well, I guess maybe this format podcast, because
he is, I think, not even in the top 10. Isn't that crazy?
Seriously?
Yeah. I've looked this up before, and I was shocked. I thought he was the number one podcaster. And, you might be able to find somewhere that says he is number one, but like by whatever metrics I was looking up, maybe it was like monthly listens or whatever, like he wasn't up there.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I don't know. By the way, have you heard of, do you know the Call Her Daddy podcast? Have you heard of that?
Barstool Sports?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Love it.
Oh, gosh. There was so much drama with that this week. Did you hear about all that?
No. I know that there's a lot of drama with Dave Portnoy right now, but
let's talk about Joe Rogan moving here, and then we'll finish up with that, because that's super crazy.
And he's making all sorts of moves. He's also talking kind of like what Elon Musk did. He's talking about moving to Texas, getting out of California, because he's like, this is just not the right place for him anymore.
Yeah. Well, I thought Tesla may be coming to Atlanta was what I heard. But I don't know, he put his house up for sale. So
here we go.
Coming down to the South. Let's do it, boys. But here's a question with this Joe Rogan huge contract. Mm-hmm. What is the reverberating effect this is going to have on YouTube, podcasting, just audio creation in general? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I know that you could probably speak better to the whole YouTube thing because that's what you do. But in my opinion, I think that he's making a statement. There's been a lot of things going on wrong, as I'm sure you know, and people have seen, going on with YouTube. I'll let you speak to that. In the podcast world, I mean, it's going to shake the whole thing up. I mean, because I think he, as far as everybody's concerned, at least podcasters, you always want to be ranking on iTunes, but now he's making a statement saying he's exclusively on Spotify. That shakes up the whole, where do I want my statistics to be? Because if everyone's moving to Spotify, that's where you want your audience to start catching your show.
Yeah. Well, I guess my question would be, I would really wonder, and I don't know the answer to this, and you may not either. Spotify's a free listening platform, right?
I believe so. I think you can sign up for it. I just have a free account. I don't know if
I think
maybe
they have
it
a
limits.
premium one as well, but I just wonder, how are they possibly going to recoup this $100 million they're paying him?
Just probably through ad revenue,
But they're not ads on his podcast. He gets paid. Maybe that's the deal. Maybe he's giving up sponsors for his podcast. He's signing this $100 million deal with them to be exclusively there. And now he may not have any more show sponsors. I would, because how could he have $100 million contract and then do sponsors on top of it?
You wouldn't need it.
You wouldn't need it. Maybe their whole thing is just driving people to Spotify to get premium memberships. I don't know. But how does iTunes doesn't make money on podcasts? Do they?
Not that I know of, but I don't think iTunes has signed anybody to a $100 million contract for a podcast. Now, who knows? Maybe this leads to, all right, I'm switching over. You might get it for 6 months, but then you have to have the gold membership or what. I don't even know what it is on Spotify to get the show. And then they got you because you're not going to be like, well, shit, I'm not going to stop listening to Joe Rogan now. I'll pay the, $10 or $9.99, whatever it is a month to have the membership.
I wonder if they'll still put clips on YouTube.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, they've got a whole channel that's JRE clips, Joe Rogan Experience clips. And that's really what I watch. I mean, I watch all the, the clips from his people or whatever. But it's definitely going to be interesting. I think this is huge because, Joe Rogan has said for a long time that he loves podcasting because it's the last frontier of content creation where you own all your content and, you nobody calls the shots on you. But now he's getting paid $100 million, but he's moving to a platform. And you got to think that comes with some restrictions for, I don't think they just said, here's $100 million, have a free for all,
Right. Spotify's, it's owned by a public company, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And if that's the case, I mean, there'll be shareholders. I mean, there are, fiscal and financial responsibilities that I think that he would have to meet in order to, meet some obligation of this contract. And I don't know any of the workings of it, right? I don't know anybody that's seen a contract, an example of anything, but I mean, you can only assume for dollar monies or dollar amounts like that, there has to be stipulations, and who knows what they're going to do. So
we've done all this to say that Spotify's reached out to us and they've asked us to just quit making a podcast. They said, can y'all be done? We need to, upload another $100 million star. Y'all are too expensive for us. So
I know. Well, we'll be exclusively on iTunes.
Yeah, we'll be exclusively on some decentralized platform nobody's heard of. That's where we'll go. Okay. Well, but I wonder if this is going to be like where now all of a sudden, kind of like with video streaming platforms, like everybody's trying to license this or license that or have this podcast exclusive to them. I think this is what we're about to see. I think this is the first, chip to fall that we're going to see a total reorganization of the podcasting landscape.
Oh, I think, and it's not only the podcasting. I think it's the TV show, movie, stuff like that. I think a subscription service is what a lot of people are going to, because everybody's got their different tastes. I think a lot of people have said that for many years. Cable should do the same thing. For 99 cents, let me pick and choose the channels that I want. Give me Sports Center, give me whatever. Give me a sports, a news, a couple movie channels, and I'm good. I don't. Even when I had TV, I'm a cord cutter. We've been a cord cutters for the last couple of years, but even when I was watching cable, I mean, literally it was like Sports Center. That's the only thing that I really had on. So that's the only channel I needed. And I know that, my wife probably wanted the crime shows or the History Channel or whatever those shows are, the murder mysteries.
I haven't turned my TV on in weeks, No. I don't think. I mean, barely. I was watching the news when the pandemic stuff was going on, but I haven't been watching that lately. So It's been grinding with no TV. We watch The Masked Singer. My family watches The Masked Singer every week. That's the only show we really watch.
Okay. Our show's the Voice. But actually, recently, have you watched the show Songland?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, to me, that's probably the best show I've ever seen on TV. It's aspiring songwriters get to pitch their song to these like top producers in the industry, but it's usually like a big name band, like it was Florida Georgia Line the other night. So like this person wrote a song and that's like their new song. It's super cool, super uplifting to watch these people. Obviously you get the sob story in the background and all that stuff like every other show, but it's really cool to see how they, build this. And then like you've got these wizards, like these producers, music producers that after they hear it one time, they're like, oh, do this, change this lyric. You see like one guy like, let's play this riff like this. And then you're just like, wow, you're watching these geniuses construct a new song right in front of your face. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Songland, check it out.
I wanted to be a songwriter when I was a kid. So, but me and my brother, we knew we needed to have money to launch our first song. Mm-hmm. So we agreed. We were in elementary school, and we agreed to let me slam his head up against an electricity box, those green boxes in your yard, until his tooth got loose, so he could make some money from the tooth fairy. So it worked. I busted 2 of his teeth out.
Two of his teeth. So it was a couple bucks, and then you got
$10.
First...
we thought that was enough to launch the song, but it wasn't. But last, I just want to touch on that Call Her Daddy thing. So if you don't know Call Her Daddy, it is a super raunchy like girls podcast from Barstool Sports, and girls love this podcast for whatever reason. I guess because they just feel like these two girls keep it real or whatever. So, anyways, Dave Portnoy, the main guy from Barstool Sports, he recently came out and said, he said that these 2 girls were the worst 2 people he's ever worked with. So basically what happened is their show got really popular. They started out only $70,000 a year in their contracts, right? Very, very small. So he found them on Instagram. He brought them on to do the podcast. Huge success, huge hit right off the bat. I mean, when you got Barstool Sports, you got a huge launching pad,
I mean, and you got the audience, and plus the guys love hearing. I mean, women love the show because I think they say the things that they want to be able to say, and guys love it because they're hearing women say the things that it's just, it's like dude talk, but it's ladies, and
it's like the guys that like to listen to weird Howard Stern stuff and all that. But anyway, I don't get into listening to all that. But the point is that within the first year, it was such a success. They both were making like almost $500,000 a year. And what happened is they were still not happy with that. One of the girls started dating a producer from HBO. And this producer from HBO started shopping their podcast around, even though they were under contract. And they came to the table and they said they each wanted $1 million guaranteed, and they wanted 100% of the intellectual property of the podcast. So after that, they get $1 million a year for the next 2 years. And after that, they just get to take the podcast and do whatever they want with it. And Barstool Sports were like, no, I don't think so. We're not even doing. But what's happened is now the producers talked to the one girl and got her so hyped up on herself. She's dropped the other girl. She wants it all to herself now. So she wants to work out a deal where she gets 75% of everything. Barstool Sports gets 25%, and the other girl gets 0%.
Yikes! Well, how does she even think that's fair?
Well, I don't know. I get is this HBO Sports Real Sports producer, like what happened is they did a hit piece on HBO Real Sports, like a hit piece on Dave Portnoy. Mm-hmm. And anyways, for whatever reason, like he got a real hard on for that guy, for Dave, and just like wanted to destroy his business. Then he started dating the girl from Call Her Daddy, and it's been all like straight downhill since. So it's been off the air since April, and it's probably there's a chance that the one girl the one girl
that's trying to orchestrate everything.
Yeah. The other one, the one that was getting it done to her, she may come back and do the podcast. But Dave Portnoy said at this point, like, screw all of them. We're probably not bringing it back. We'll just get 2 new hosts for it. So,
there you go.
I mean, how hard is it really to get like 2 hot chicks to talk about,
raunchy stuff
or whatever? Yeah. I mean, how hard is it? Trust me, go on TikTok. You'll find them.
Yeah.
I can find you 2 tomorrow, Dave. Call me. Dave, call me. Okay. So, all right, guys, that's all we got for today. We went really down the rabbit hole with podcasting. We talked about Litecoin and Atari today. We talked about Satoshi possibly moving some Bitcoin. It's been a great episode. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I'm BitBoy. This is Jay Chains. That's all we got this week. Peace.
We out.
Thank you for listening to the Beards and Bitcoins Crypto Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you are subscribed on your favorite podcast platform and help us spread the word by sharing your favorite Beards and Bitcoins podcast episodes on your social media. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter @BeardsBitcoins to participate in the weekly poll, chat, and share fire memes. Oh, and don't forget to visit our website, beardsandbitcoins.com, for more episodes, information, and merch today. See you next time!